So when I arrived at the school in 2015, it was like the school needed a bit of a reset to rethink where we were as an organisation, what we really wanted our core values to be moving forward, and then put a really clear plan of action around that everybody was on board with. Nayland College has this great sort of history and tradition behind it. So we actually went right back to that school crest. And the one sort of quadrant of the crest that came out really significantly was around the godwit or the kuaka.
The kuaka is an incredible bird. It flies non-stop for 8 days. It's the symbol of our school, so that's what we want for our learners, to be resilient, to persevere. The acronym that fitted really, really well with the kuaka and that the flight of the bird was of course SOAR. The next step from that was to be part of a kahuiako, and that community of learning I think has been an absolutely amazing positive move for Nayland College in that all of our teachers around the region have the opportunity to come into our school and see what we're doing here and connect with what's happening in the classroom.
In our kahuiako, teachers in all of our schools meet together in little teams to what we call co-construction. And so the idea is that you're talking about what you're doing in your class, and then you're thinking about and being coached by other people in that meeting.
Is trying to get other students to kind of help as teachers, so they're not always waiting on me.
One of the real plus sides is that the Nayland College has been able to get involved with our feeder schools, with the intermediate and the primary schools. So now not only do we have a reason to meet, but we actually understand each other's schools a whole lot more. And so there's a real seamless transition between the learning that they're having when they're 5 and 6, 11 and 12, to what they get in secondary school.
In 2015, we also identified that the school had some connections, but not really strong, tangible connections with our Māori community. So, for example, we run a Hui Taurima for our Year 9 students.
For our Hui Taurima, we have activities like wakaama, carving, maurako. They get to write stories for local primary school, so all the local stories.
The harakiki, which is flax.
Today we're helping with the Year 9 students, teaching them about rongoa Māori in the area that we live in Nayland.
Probably the oldest plant that Māori have used from when they first settled in Aotearoa.
The senior Māori students have really taken on that leadership role as something that they value, and that's important, and that's creating mana for them.
Being able to know myself better and knowing the area better, that means I get to be able to exchange it with the Year 9s.
The highlights of the Hui Taurima is just to see how our students are engaged. So you walk around the different activities and see students just so passionate and engaged, and it's the way learning should be.
I think the school's leadership has been really proactive about making sure that we've got teachers in our school working with teachers to help improve their practice.
So we have 10 trained impact coaches, and they go and observe teachers in their classrooms just through a standard lesson. We're not looking to find a lesson that's been put on for show.
So what's the muscle that creates that now? Remember that example I gave of evolution? And there was the monkeys that stood up, and you become erector spinae. You got it. It's always scary being observed, but it's a really good process in that you get a really big picture of what's going on in the classroom, and it's pretty objective in a sense, and get you to really theorise on your practice and to really think about what things you can change in your practice to improve the outcomes for your students.
Working with this pair of students, encouraging them to get it on their own, like you knew they knew it, so eliciting their prior learning, I guess, through your repeated questioning and changing what you were doing, bending, stretching.
The kinds of results that we're seeing are people being able to become more nimble in their practice, and they've got kind of a bag of strategies now that they know will work because they've been coached into that.
It's only the task list.
Yeah.
That's it.
We had a good problem a few years back, and the good problem was that we had a lot more students decide to come back into Year 13. But what that meant was the programs and courses, the subjects that we offered in Year 13 didn't necessarily reflect what the interests were of the students that were coming into that year level. So Pathway Plus is about connecting our students with the various industries throughout the Nelson and Tasman region, things such as aquaculture, tourism, forestry, also local manufacturers, and spend time actually learning about what that industry involves, what are the various jobs that and careers within that industry, and making those connections so that they can get a really good idea about what their next steps might be.
Thank you so much. It's awesome.
We know Pathway Plus is working because 100% of students in that program earned level 2. Most students in the program earned level 3, and we know pretty much all of them went on to further jobs or training or study.
The increase in student pride and students feeling like they're cared about by their teachers, that their culture is respected in the school has been huge. It's really had a huge impact.
Our attendance rates have improved. Our school role, I think, or population of the school has grown as the community has become more connected with what we're doing here at Nayland College.
Catch you later on.